over 60 singers, one name, and a night in 1964 that changed music history forever. This is the story of the Drifters, the band that couldn't keep a lead singer alive, yet somehow became one of the most legendary vocal groups in music history. Think you know the Drifters? You don't. Because behind every hit song is a tragedy you never heard about, a replacement you never saw coming, and a music industry secret that turned this group into a revolving door of talent. If you've ever wondered why the same band sounded completely different across decades, or why Under the Boardwalk has a haunting sadness beneath its summer vibes, you're about to find out. Smash that follow button right now, because Ikamafuna History TV is about to reveal the shocking truth behind one of music's greatest mysteries. September 1953. A young singer named Clyde McPhatter walked into Atlantic Records with a mandate: build a group from scratch. According to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, McPhatter had just left Billy Ward and his Dominoes, where his high-pitched tenor voice had made the group famous. But Atlantic Records founder Ahmet Ertegun saw something bigger. He didn't just want a singer, he wanted to create a revolution in R&B. McPhatter assembled the original Drifters: Gerhard Thrasher, Andrew Thrasher, Bill Pinkney, and Jimmy Oliver. They recorded their first major hit, Money Honey, in September 1953, and it exploded. According to Rolling Stone, the song topped the Billboard R&B charts for 11 consecutive weeks. The Drifters had arrived. But here's what nobody tells you. McPhatter was barely with the group. In March 1954, just 6 months after their breakthrough, he received his draft letter. According to Wikipedia's comprehensive Drifters history, What You Gonna Do, released in February 1955, was McPhatter's last recording as a Drifter. The man who founded the group, gone after 1 year. And that's when the chaos began. David Bond, a part-time member who frequently sang in McPhatter's place, took over. But according to Black Past historical records, his erratic behavior upset record executives. He lasted 6 months. Then came Johnny Moore in 1955, the man who would become the longest-lasting lead singer in the group's history. Moore had hits before being drafted himself in 1957. The Drifters couldn't catch a break. Then in 1958, something unprecedented happened. George Treadwell, who owned the name The Drifters, yes, he literally owned the name like a brand, got fed up with the original group's performances. So what did he do? According to Britannica, he fired the entire band and replaced them with a completely different group called the Five Crowns, led by a young singer named Ben E. King. Just like that. The original Drifters showed up to perform one night, and there was a completely new group on stage calling themselves the Drifters. Imagine that. You build a legacy, and then someone steals your name and gives it to strangers. But this new group? They were extraordinary. According to the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame, Ben E. King and the new Drifters incorporated orchestral strings, Latin rhythms, and sophisticated vocal arrangements that revolutionized R&B. In 1959, they released There Goes My Baby, which hit #1 on the R&B charts and #2 on the pop chart. Then came Save the Last Dance for Me in 1960, #1 on both the pop and R&B charts. The song, written by Doc Pomus, held the top spot for 3 weeks. But there was a problem. When the new Drifters toured, according to Black Past, they encountered hostility from audiences who knew they weren't the original members. People felt betrayed. Ben E. King, frustrated by low pay and angry fans, approached George Treadwell for a raise and a fair share of royalties. Treadwell said no. So King quit and launched a solo career, creating the timeless classic Stand By Me in 1961. Johnny Lee Williams briefly became lead vocalist before leaving. Then came Rudy Lewis in late 1960, a gospel singer from the Clara Ward Singers who would lead the Drifters through some of their greatest hits. According to the Vocal Group Hall of Fame, Lewis sang lead on Some Kind of Wonderful, Up on the Roof, and On Broadway, which reached #5 on the pop chart and #4 on the R&B chart in 1963. And then May 21st, 1964 arrived, the day that would haunt the Drifters forever. The group was scheduled to record Under the Boardwalk, a song written specifically for Rudy Lewis. According to Wikipedia and confirmed by Song Facts, Lewis was found dead in his Harlem hotel room on the morning of May 20th, 1964, the night before the recording session. He was 27 years old. The cause of death has never been definitively determined. Some accounts say drug overdose. Others who knew Lewis say he suffered from binge eating disorder and may have choked in his sleep. No autopsy was ever performed. The Drifters were devastated, but Atlantic Records producer Jerry Wexler urged them to continue. Johnny Moore, who had recently returned from military service and a failed solo career, stepped into the studio that very same day, less than 24 hours after Lewis's death. According to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame records, Moore sang Under the Boardwalk, with tears still fresh. You can hear it in his voice, that haunting sadness beneath the summer romance lyrics. The song reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in August 1964, becoming one of their biggest hits. But every note carries the weight of tragedy. In 1967, Charlie Thomas, the final member of the original Five Crowns, left and was replaced. In 1972, the Drifters left Atlantic Records and moved to England, establishing themselves as Drifters UK Limited. According to Blackpast, they continued cycling through vocalists as frequently as they had in the 1950s and 1960s. In 1979, Johnny Moore made another appearance as lead vocalist, alongside former Temptations lead Louis Price. Ben E. King and Bill Fredericks returned in 1982. On December 30th, 1998, Johnny Moore, the group's most consistent member, died in London at age 64 while being transported to Mayday Hospital. According to Variety Entertainment Records, he had been suffering from respiratory failure. Moore had performed on British television just days before Christmas, singing "Come On Over to My Place." Even at the end, he was still performing, still carrying the Drifters' legacy. In 1999, Bill Pinkney, Charlie Thomas, and Johnny Moore posthumously received the Pioneer Award from the Rhythm and Blues Foundation. The Drifters were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988 and the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 1998. They continued to perform and built a massive following in England. According to historical records, in 2007 they performed at Prime Minister Tony Blair's farewell party in London. In 2009, they performed at the London Indigo O2 Arena. In 2012, Lifetime Achievement Awards were presented to Joe Blunt and Butch Leek from Sony Music, and gold discs were awarded to Blunt, Leek, and Clyde Brown. And here's the wisdom that captures this entire story. Clyde McPhatter once said, "I think the progress of the world will call for the best that all of us have to give." That was the Drifters, a group where over 60 different vocalists gave everything they had, knowing their names would be forgotten, but the music would live forever. From Clyde McPhatter's gospel-soaked tenor, to Benny King's sophisticated soul, to Rudy Lewis's tragic brilliance, to Johnny Moore's unwavering dedication, these men created a sound that defined generations. Money Honey, There Goes My Baby, Save the Last Dance for Me, Under the Boardwalk, On Broadway. Each song represents a different era, a different vocalist, a different tragedy, a different triumph. Yet somehow they all share one name, the Drifters. So here's my question for you. How many lead singers can a group lose and still remain legendary? Drop your answer in the comments. Tell me, which Drifters era is your favorite? Was it Clyde McPhatter's raw gospel power? Ben E. King's smooth sophistication? Rudy Lewis's emotional depth? Or Johnny Moore's enduring dedication? And here's the real question. Did you know Under the Boardwalk was recorded the day after the lead singer died? Share that with someone who needs to know this history. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and follow Ikemefuna History TV for more untold stories that changed music forever. Because when we understand the tragedy behind the triumph, we finally understand the true cost of greatness.